In the world of tech, we're used to seeing some pretty huge numbers. But every now and then, a number comes along that just breaks your brain. It's so massive, it forces everyone to stop and ask, is this a revolution or is this the top of a bubble? Today, we are unpacking one of those numbers and the absolutely wild story behind it. Okay, let's just start with this number, $50 billion. Let that sink in for a second. That's the valuation a startup was apparently looking for less than a year after it was even founded. A company with basically zero revenue and one product. So how? How is that even possible? How does a brand new company with no real product to speak of and no profits get valued at more than Ford or General Motors? That's the core question we're digging into today. Let's follow the money, follow the hype, and see what is really going on here. To get started, we've got to look at the company at the very heart of this story. It's a startup with a pretty legendary name and a price tag that is, frankly, almost unbelievable. Thinking Machines. Just look at the sheer speed of this thing. It's insane. The company was founded in 2024 by Mira Murati, who was a top exec over at OpenAI. By July of 2025, it was already valued at $12 billion. Then, just 4 months later, that number jumps to a reported $50 billion. And the product behind all of this? A single developer tool called an API, which is basically just a way for different software programs to talk to each other. And this one was called Tinker. And it wasn't even fully released yet. See, to understand that $50 billion number, you can't just look at the product. You have to look at the person that investors are really betting on. This isn't a bet on an API. It's a bet on a mastermind. Mira Murati's rise has been absolutely meteoric. After doing work at Tesla and Leapmotion, she joins OpenAI in 2018 and rockets up to become Chief Technology Officer. Then, she gets thrown into the global spotlight in late 2023 when she was made interim CEO during that whole chaotic mess with the firing and rehiring Sam Altman. Just a few months after all that drama, she leaves, founds Thinking Machines, and raises an incredible $2 billion right out of the gate. But her role in that OpenAI crisis is, well, it's complicated. According to reports and what commentators were saying, Murati was actually central to the initial push to get Sam Altman fired, even providing evidence to the board. But then, when thousands of employees threatened to quit, she quickly flipped, demanding he be brought back. One source called it both a masterclass in corporate survival and a massive red flag. It highlights this political skill that investors are either betting big on or are really, really wary of. And this all leads us to a really key concept in venture capital right now, the pedigree premium. See, investors aren't just funding an idea anymore, they're funding the who. They're betting that an elite team, like the one Murati pulled together from OpenAI's top talent, has a much higher chance of creating something world-changing. It's all part of a bigger shift where these huge funds are being concentrated on just a few proven players, instead of being scattered across a bunch of long shots. Okay, let's zoom out for a second. Because Thinking Machines isn't some weird one-off. Nope. It is the peak of a much, much bigger trend. We are in the middle of a historic AI gold rush, where capital is flowing like absolutely never before. This landscape is just astonishing. You've got Thinking Machines wanting $50 billion for a product that's still in beta. Then there's SSI, founded by OpenAI's former chief scientist, valued at $32 billion with literally no product. And Skittled AI, started by ex-Meta researchers, looking for $14 billion for a single AI model. These are the new AI elite, and their price tags are just astronomical. So this obviously raises the big question. Are we in a bubble? Well, there are some pretty key differences from the dot-com era. Back then, the whole frenzy was fueled by speculative debt and IPOs for startups that had no revenue. Today's AI boom? It's being paid for by the massive cash flows of already profitable tech giants like Microsoft and Google, who are already making billions from their AI services. But here's a fascinating bit of historical perspective. During these other huge technological shifts, like when electricity was rolling out or during the dot-com boom, investment peaked at about 2% of the entire US economy. Today's AI spending, it's sitting at less than 1%. So if history is any guide, this spending spree, well, it might just be getting started. That said, there are definitely new risks. Analysts point to this thing called round tripping, where a company like NVIDIA, for example, invests in a startup, and then that startup turns right around and uses that same cash to buy chips from NVIDIA. It creates this super tight, interdependent web. The big AI players are all investors, customers, and suppliers to each other. And that raises some serious concerns that if one major company fails, it could create a contagion effect, a domino-like collapse across the whole system. Okay, now let's just pivot for a minute. To really understand the scale of these AI bets, it helps to contrast them with a completely different investment world, one that's grounded not in abstract code, but in physical infrastructure and immediate, tangible problems. So let's talk about a company called Base Power. They work with something called distributed energy resources, or DERs. Now, that's a fancy term, but all it really means are things like batteries installed in individual homes to store and generate power right where it's needed. And their mission is incredibly simple. They install batteries in Texas homes for free. So when the power goes out, the homeowner has backup. And when the main grid is getting stressed, Base Power can pull from this whole network of home batteries to help keep it stable. It's a super practical, on-the-ground solution to a very real problem. Now, remember that practical, real-world company, and then consider this number. Some of these top AI labs are reportedly being valued at over $1.2 billion per employee. And now you contrast that $1 billion per employee figure with this. The goal of Base Power is simply to keep the lights on. The difference is it's stark. You've got these abstract astronomical valuations for some potential future versus a grounded, tangible solution for a problem we have right now. So how do we make sense of this? How do we reconcile these two completely different worlds? A reality that contains both billion-dollar AI dreams and the simple, crucial goal of just keeping the lights on. Let's try to find a verdict. You know, the key takeaway here might be that we're not in a simple bubble. Some analysts have started calling this the mega round era. The old playbook of venture capital, spreading small bets far and wide, that's over. Today, a tidal wave of capital is being laser-focused on just a handful of elite teams, betting that one of them will build the next truly world-changing technology. Ultimately, the whole debate boils down to these two opposing views. The bulls, they believe this is a genuine revolution, bankrolled by cash-rich tech giants who are investing in the world's absolute best talent. They're betting on the chance, the option, that one of these teams will finally build artificial general intelligence, or AGI. But the bears, they see valuations that are totally unmoored from reality, driven by pure FOMO, fear of missing out, creating a fragile system that's maybe one shock away from collapse. Which leaves us with the final question. Are we witnessing the very first days of a technological revolution on par with the internet or electricity, or is this simply the biggest, most expensive gamble in the history of technology? The answer is going to define the next decade, and right now, $50 billion is hanging in the balance.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It really helps the channel grow. See you in the next video.